Hello and welcome back with me, Admiral, joining me back on Star Trek Fleet Command. So today's episode, we're going to do a quick episode. It's not going to be very long at all. We're going to talk about a bit about dailies, daily missions, what to focus on, how to sort of focus on them, and the best ways to go around doing daily missions again. So you don't have to do every single one, and you can obviously get your daily unlock every single day. Obviously, there's a multitude of things that you can focus on when it comes to the daily missions, but these are sort of the basic ones that I would say definitely focus on, especially if you're only mining certain factions or trying to get all your factions locked or whatever else. We'll talk about a few different ways. So the first way is if you're only going for one faction. For example, I'm only mining for Romulan at the moment. So the best ones to do are going to be your mining missions, which are these three here. So all you need to do is, at my level, you only need to mine up to 25,000. Obviously, this is going to vary depending on what type of level you are with that faction. So it will be slightly less if you're lower or slightly higher if you're obviously going for the sort of higher tiers. And it will change as well once you get, because it will change to G4 as well. After you get your, obviously, unlock and you get to the next tier up from where I am at the moment, which I believe is celebrated. So these are the best ways to get some decent points on the board straight away though, because these, as you can see, 25, 20 and 10, just very simple. Just set your miner off and let it get going. The other good ones to get straight off the bat, make sure you do your alliance unities and your alliance solidarity. Again, these add a decent amount of points just for helping your alliance out, so it's very easy to get as well. And then some other ones that are very easy to get, and then we'll go on to the more sort of focused stuff a little bit in a second. So you got these two, which is your 24-hour chest and your 4-hour chest as well. You need 3 of them, and obviously you need 1 of the 24-hour ones. Again, these are really easy ones to get, and they get a decent amount of points. This gets you to about, with all that included, that gets you to about halfway, probably just over halfway, without adding the points up in my head. It gets you to about just over halfway, I think, or about halfway within this scale. And then you sort of have to look then what you want to do next. If you're mining for a faction, the best things to do then would be to do the hostile hunts. I would definitely recommend doing hostile hunts. And obviously, depending on the faction, obviously you will do the hostile hunts I recommend for that faction. So if you want to obviously gear up, for example, just going off my one, if you want to gear up Romulans, you will go and attack Federation ships of level 39 or above. And you need to hit 25 of them. Always try and go for the higher one, because if you hit the 39 or above, this one will also activate the lower one as well. So always try and hit the level 39s and above, or whatever level it is for you. Again, this will be different depending on your level, to that faction. But mine's 39 or above, so always try and hit that level because it makes it easier for you. And you only need to hit 25 of them. However, this is kind of a little bit of a ball ache. Sometimes you don't want to do that because you don't have the time to go and do it or whatever else. Another good one to do is to do your swarms. If you're not already working on your swarms, then I definitely recommend working on your swarms, because working on swarms is definitely beneficial. And I sort of regret not starting it earlier, as I should have, because I'm just turning the mic down a little bit because I believe it's probably a little bit loud. But let me know in the comments down below if the mic settings are okay for you. I can mess around with them a little bit. Just please let me know. But yeah, anyway, moving on. So swarms, I would definitely recommend doing the swarms, because you have 3 different swarms. And you only need to get up to 50. And that's obviously level, 30, whatever level you can hit. You can get, so if you hit 50, any swarm level, you get 15 points. And then the other 2 that you get from it, where are they? So these 2, so these are your specific 2 when it comes to what level you have to hit. So obviously, if you can hit level, whatever the highest level is for you. So mine's level 32 at the moment, so I only need to hit level 32s, and I can hit quite a lot of them as well. So I can hit all 50, no problem. So yeah, I would definitely recommend doing these, because you get 50 and 35 points just off doing these, and then you get the extra 15 off hitting 50 overall. This doesn't actually take that long, because swarms, obviously, because you can hit any swarm within the level 32 systems, you can just hit any, you can go around just hitting any, and it doesn't actually take as long as the hostile hunt potentially, because hostile hunt, yeah, obviously you're looking for that specific level of ship, for me being level 39 above, or for you being whatever and above. So it can be a little bit sort of problematic. And like I say, this on its own gets you a hell of a lot of points. It gets 100 points, I believe, on its own just by doing swarms. So that is a lot of points that you can gain from just doing them on its own. And then obviously by doing then the mining and stuff like that we spoke about at the top, again, you're already pretty much into the 200 sort of range. And then you always need one extra thing to top you off. And for me, that normally falls down to potentially doing research. So if you do a decent research, or you do a upgrade to the building, if you can get one of these plus the power creep, that normally pushes me over the edge. If you can't do that because, say, the research or the building is taking too long and you don't want to speed it up, then obviously the best things to do then is just go and sort of solidify it with the hostile hunts. Just these two are perfectly adequate, as they only require 35, which is much lower than the requirements for the actual hostile, and you can go and hit any with these, so you're not locked into what faction to go and hit. So just go and do these just to top it up if need be. There is new ones at the moment, so you got the away teams one, which came out with the last arc, and you got the Exocom Commander as well, which again you get 5 points for each. Kind of easy ones to get. They are really easy to get. However, I don't find myself doing the away teams that often these days because they're not very good. The Exocom Commander, I have used this one a few times just because obviously getting these are pretty useful. Overall, I mean, you get 20, and obviously they can come in handy, and you can get the assigned 1 hour assignment speed ups as well, which can come in handy if you do the away teams quite regularly. But again, I find myself not doing them so often, if I'm honest, because they're kind of crap. But hey ho, and obviously if you have a better Franklin, i.e. the Franklin Alpha, you can do obviously the swarm hunt for these two as well. So just bear that in mind. So you will unlock these two as well. You don't get that many points for them, but you do get quite a lot of good stuff within them. But the easiest, like I say, they're probably, I would say, hands down the easiest things to do. It depends what you're going after. Obviously, if you're going after certain factions, as I was saying, if you're dual factioning, for example, then I would definitely, or triple factioning, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to lock out your factions, then the things that I would definitely recommend doing is make sure you 100% complete all of your mining and all of your faction hunts every single day, as they add a lot of points. I know this is specific to me, so yours will vary and probably be slightly less if you're lower than me, or higher if you're higher. But if you're just trying to lock out your factions, if you're lower, then you do get a lot of points, you do get a lot of speed ups, and you do get like the credits. And these, don't worry about these so much because they do cancel each other out eventually. So I would always recommend doing maybe 2 at a time, 2 factions. Don't try and do triple faction. I don't believe it works too well. Try and do dual faction if you want to, or alternatively, the sort of the way that I'm sort of pushing at the moment, that I've seen a lot of people do, that seems to be working quite well, is just do single faction grinding, which is obviously solely focus on one faction, get it all the way up to locked, and then solely focus on another faction. Just because you can get a lot of points with that one faction, then very quickly and very easily without losing points for the other factions. Because if, for example, if you do look at this one, like I say, so Romulans gain 30,000. So if you're dual faction, you gain 30,000. But then if you're losing 15 on Klingon, say, and then you do the Klingon one, you get 30,000 Klingon, but then you're losing the 15 on the Romulans. So they do cancel each other out eventually, well, essentially, which means you gain 30,000 or 15,000 each. But obviously that's half the speed you can gain with just the 30,000 on its own. So just bear that in mind. They're the best ways that I would definitely recommend going down this route. Hopefully this video has been somewhat useful to the newer sort of players out there. The veteran players, obviously, please leave your tips and hints down below on what to do, what to look for, just to help them out. Other than that, I will see you next time. Have a lovely day, and bye-bye for now.